People, Deluded, another video where I'm on the go, as you can see. Yeah, bit of both, man, at the old 9 to 5 and whatnot. But I had some time and I thought I'd speak about something. Now, it's actually a video I like to speak about. I don't like to speak about the topic, but I think it's important to at least use my platform to voice these things. Sadly, young defender, who plays for QPR, Trent Mahorn, forgive me if I've mispronounced his name, I've never seen him play before. The relevant bit is he's walked off the field a few weeks ago, I believe, because of being on the receiving end of racism in a friendly for his team QPR, I assume their youth side's pre-season tour in Spain. Now, I commend him for walking off. Apparently the referee had no choice but to abandon the game. I commend him for obvious reasons, people. First and foremost, we know racism has no place in, let alone football, in society. The way you can hate on someone for having more or less pigment in their skin and draw a conclusion as to how they are based on that is beyond idiotic. We know racism is I describe it as a cancerous disease that attacks the brain because it robs you of logic, people. Like I said, rather than judging a man, woman or whatever on the principles and their actions, you're judging someone or prejudging, prejudice at times, based on their skin color. Now, it's sad. It's a sad reality that black professionals in particular, I'm going to speak on obviously my community, they're going to have to put up with it. They've been putting up with racism here and abroad, and it's an unhealthy part of it. You've seen it happen to a young Osei Tutu. You've actually heard Maitland-Niles say it happened to him in Germany a couple of years ago. There's countless experiences of all levels, from non-league to League One to League Two to the Premier League, of racism. We see all the banners, we see all the hashtags, we see all the feel-good, do-nothing activism. But more often than not, we find ourselves sitting in the same space talking about the same things, as I currently am, people. It's sad, man, it's sad. Obviously, Tutu not too long ago was racially abused as well. Malcolm over there in Russia, obviously well, not young, but Cyrus Christie, the fullback, his wife's been on the receiving end at a Fulham game, and it's ridiculous, people. But back to Trent. The article said, young defender Trent Mahorn bravely took the step of leading his players off the pitch after they were allegedly subject to monkey noises and taunts of, and I'm just going to say it, people, it's in, obviously they've blacked out the words, but taunts of nigger in a game against AD Nervon FC 10 days ago. Obviously this was at the time of the article, I've copied and pasted. The referee is understood to have had no option but to abandon the game. QPR have yet to comment publicly on the matter, but it's believed they are fully supportive of the decision taken by Mahorn, with the welfare and well-being of their players a priority. First and foremost, I commend QPR. They're a club that give black managers chances, that give black players chances. You look at their, I believe, under-18s manager, Paul Furlong. He actually used to coach me. If you play for QPR or whatever, you can go and ask him, did he coach Deluded? And his son used to play for my team, Darnell Furlong. I see he's a right back nowadays and he's at West Brom, but he used to be a striker them days there. And he had a younger son as well, younger than Darnell's son, but Paul's obviously been a professional. He must have felt firsthand. I think Paul Furlong would support it, as would everybody, as would anyone, regardless of whoever you are, that saw this. I'm happy to see he walked off the field. Of course, I'm not happy that a game's been abandoned. That first and foremost, these are young professional footballers. They're playing in the game. They should be able to see it out. I'm happy that they walked off the field, because racism isn't going to change whether racism isn't going to change whether he comes off the field or not, people. But reality is, there's nothing much people can do. So if a stand can be taken, I fully support it, like I said, man. QPR CEO, Lee Hughes, has called upon UEFA to take a tougher stance against racism. And we also need to remember this happened to Brewster. This happened to Brewster a couple of times, more recently playing against Spain's under-17s a couple of years ago, or whenever it was, people. So it's happening here, it's happening everywhere, and it's not going to change, people, because I personally think they're not going to stop racism because it's not profitable. It's not profitable to fight racism, people. If there was, you can't make money from it, but if there was some possible way of doing it, you think FIFA and UEFA and all these governing bodies wouldn't clamp down on it? It wouldn't. I mean, they would, people. So yeah, I'm happy to see that they've done that, man. And Lee's gone on to say, I believe, I applaud Paul Furlong and his staff for reacting in such a manner and doing everything within their power to protect the players. I'm also very proud of our under-18s who showed maturity in the face of unacceptable provocation. Had this incident occurred in England, I have no doubts the issue would be dealt with swiftly in a strong punishment by the FA. Unfortunately, it seems like some countries have a long way to go in this respect, and I urge UEFA to take the strongest possible action, as incidents of this nature are happening far too often. Amen, Lee. It's happening far too often. It's happening in that youth games. The other day, what was it? Bobby Akinde, I can't even say his name, the former Liverpool youngster, was he not racially abused playing in a Youth Gen League, a mock Champions League version for the youth players? So it's happening everywhere, and I fully agree with Lee. A lot of countries have a long way to go. I personally feel racism is unacceptable, people. We can sit here and say it's unacceptable, it's belittling. We know it, we know what it is at this moment in time. We know we can sit here and say educate racism, or educate racists, and things like that, and that's all true. But in 2019, if you're looking down, up your nose at someone for more or less pigment, you're an idiot, and I don't believe you deserve education, really. I think in 2019, anyone that's being a racial idiot knows that they're being a racial idiot, people. So I commend QPR and obviously the QPR players for what they did, man, and nothing's going to change. But I thought to make a vid on this, and I thought I should speak on that, man. But for now, people, DG.